So February is Black History Month, but we should be celebrating our history and our culture all year round. So today and this actual whole month, I'm going to be celebrating and spotlighting Black herbalists. So today we're recognizing the work of three influential herbalists. Their names are George Washington Carver, Onesimus, and also Edmund Albius. So, firstly, many of us are familiar with George Washington Carver. We learn about him in school. He's one of the few that we do learn about. He was born into slavery. He was an African American scientist. He was a botanist. He was an educator and also an inventor. He's best known for the many uses and recipes and discoveries that he found with the peanut, but he also did lots of work that was really crucial and critical as it had to relate to sweet potatoes as well. With the peanuts, he made over 300 products, things like medicine, cosmetics, and soap. He was really a pioneer in the field of sustainable agriculture, and he helped to revolutionize the way that we use plants for food and medicine. It is said that George Washington Carver actually had over 20,000 letters that he responded to. He had thousands of letters from farmers who were asking him for advice about their gardens. And so he was talking to a group of people that were really neglected and that nobody really cared about. So that is a testament to how devoted he was. He said he would pray, go to sleep, and then he would get the answers, but also how loving and caring he was for everyone. So I want to point out why history is so important. This is a book, Smart About George Washington Carver, the Peanut Wizard. Now it has beautiful illustrations and it's geared towards kids and it has a lot of prose about this book. But when reading it, it says, he was born around 1864 on a farm in Missouri that was owned by Susan and Moses Carver. George was a slave. That meant he was owned by the Carvers. So it says he was, born on a farm instead of plantation. But let's go over here. We read about his mother, how his mother was stolen, kidnapped, and it says, even though the Carvers had owned slaves, they sound like pretty nice people. We really got to be careful about how they shape narratives. And whenever there's other books as well that depict slaves as happy and smiling, but we really got to be careful and how they are trying to show that they were just so happy. She's smiling, his mother is smiling. You really have to be careful. All right, so just wanted to put that memo in here while we're talking about George Washington Carver. So please read through the books with your children. Ask them about what they're learning in school because you never know. So next, we're going to talk about Onesimus. And Onesimus, he was another born into slavery in the 18th century. He was actually brought to the colonies in 1706. And he is most famous for teaching Cotton Mather, which is his owner, the smallpox inoculation technique so that he had learned in Africa. So we did keep a lot of our knowledge from Africa. Onesimus actually shared with him a technique called variolation, and that was inoculation using material from a smallpox sore. So his work helped to revolutionize vaccinations in the Western world and did save many lives. Then we have Edmund Albius, and he was known as the father of vanilla. He again was an enslaved person, and he was actually a slave in the French island called Réunion, and that was in the 19th century. And he's most famous for discovering a technique for hand pollinating vanilla orchids. At that time, vanilla really didn't have popularity and there was no way to grow it outside of where it's from. It's native Mexico. So with his method, which is still used today, if it was without him, it would likely be that we wouldn't have vanilla being so popular and becoming one of the most popular flavors that we have in the whole world. So these are just a few examples of the many Black herbalists who have went unnamed for so long, who really made valuable contributions to the field of herbalism. So with this video, I hope that we can honor the legacy of these herbalists and use their wisdom for plants, foods, and medicine in sustainable ways. So happy Black History Month.